Hello and welcome back to NoBS. Today I want to talk about one of the most famous writers and authors and creators of our time, none other than George R. Martin. George Martin is known for, of course, writing the Game of Thrones book series. Game of Thrones is one of the most popular books out there right now, and of course it was also turned into a TV series on HBO that was wildly successful as well. And while that show wrapped up a few years back and had a kind of questionable ending that had mixed reactions from people, it still had a great legacy that led to international fame for not only the Game of Thrones show and HBO and all those actors and creators, but also the book writer. It's made George R. Martin even more famous, more than even his literary fame. He's been famous in book reading circles for a long time. And now he's kind of an international icon. And that's actually what's brought him under fire today. You see, he had recently hosted a show. He hosted the Hugo Awards, which has to do with writing. And basically what happened was now he's being accused of being offensive. Yes, he was accused of being racist because he read a few names wrong at the event, which are actually really hard names to read, especially for English speaking, American types like us. I think George R. Martin is not from America though. Yeah, he is. George R. Martin. He might seem like a British guy. He has a strange name, but he's actually from New Jersey. And yeah, he's an American novelist, and he tried to read a few very complicated names, and he's getting backlash for it. And it mostly has to do with him being famous and being wildly popular. Like we've talked about time and time again, famous people and big figures are the ones that the SJWs go after more. They like to tear down someone famous and say, hey, Kevin Hart doesn't like gay people, or this person is sexist, this person's racist. They go after the biggest names they can, and that's basically what's happened to Martin here. So let's start off by going to this Vulture article, which is definitely biased against him. They're definitely trying to come after Martin here, and you're going to see how ridiculous it is as we read on. So let's go ahead and check it out. The article's called George R. Martin Accused of Racism and Just Generally Sucking After Hosting Hugo Awards. Well, that already sounds bad already, just saying he generally sucks. I'm not sure if he's actually racist either. Accused of racism isn't actually a story. If someone was actually racist, like you might have something there, but this is just an accusation, and it's going to be based on dumb stuff too, as you'll soon see. George R. Martin hosted the digital ceremony for the 2020 Hugo Awards, the annual event dedicated to science fiction and fantasy writers and creators, on Friday. To celebrate a particularly diverse year of nominations, Comic Years reports that the all-female slate of Best Novel nominees was a Hugo first. Martin opted to repeatedly reference racist figures in the science fiction community. Martin also bungled the pronunciation of several names, including those of winner Rebecca F. Quain and Faya, a Black quarterly magazine run by Black writers. So, wow, there is a lot to go over here. Geez, this is like getting woke as hell. Let's start from the back though. Like Quang and Faya are pretty difficult words, but this is actually misleading. Vulture is leaving out the harder names that he couldn't get, like the really tricky ones that were actually why this whole thing started. So basically the true story is he had some really extreme names to go over, which we'll get to, but this article is trying to play that down and be like, oh, look, he couldn't pronounce Rebecca F. Quang and Faya, but those are actually not the most common words either. I mean, is this Quang, Quang, Khan? Like it could be a few other ways. And Faya, I mean, I'm not even sure. I'm just guessing that you would say that Faya or Fia or something, and neither of those words should be. I mean, the real absurd thing here is assuming people know how to say this stuff. This is not typical names or words for the English language, especially not in American culture. I'm not saying, oh, if you're not like us, you could get out, but sometimes if you're going to bring in a new word, it takes time to catch on. And if you're just going to jump in with a quang and act like, oh, everyone's racist if you can't say it, that's actually you being silly. Like, for example, let me give you another example. This is from the past, but this is a hard name. So we all know Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? Arnold Schwarzenegger's been around forever. And, he had that name. That's his original kind of signature name now, and everyone knows how to say it. But if it just popped up out of nowhere, like if we were back in the 70s or 80s when he first appeared, it would be hard. And people would be like saying, Schwarzenegger or something like, Schwarzenegger, like it might be coming off wrong depending on who said it. And if you hadn't heard it 100 times, like we all have now, it's been ingrained in our culture because Arnold, of course, has appeared in movies. He's been a governor. He's like a world famous star. So that's what we're at. So basically that's kind of comparable to Quang. Like if Quang had been around since the 80s and been a movie star and then someone mispronounced their name, like, yeah, you might have a case there, but it still wouldn't be racist or offensive. I mean, mispronouncing something is just mispronouncing something. I do that every day. I mean, I'm reading videos and words all the time when you're performing in public and going on stage. Like that's just going to happen. Like you might pronounce a regular word wrong. Does that mean you're offensive to that word? Like say if I'm just reading this and I mispronounce the Vulture magazine as Vulture, if I said it wrong, does that mean I'm racist against them? It's like, no, you're just making a mistake. Like, I don't think anyone's trying to argue that Martin did this on purpose. And that's just what actually they're trying to now. Actually, like that's what the liberals are trying to say is it's purposely done and he's racist against them or something. And then that's just the end of this. This whole first paragraph has a lot of interesting stuff because the other thing I want to note out is this, like reports of an all-female slate of best novel nominees. Oh, shocking. 2020 has all-female nominees. And then the next thing is the annual event dedicated to science fiction and to celebrate a particularly diverse year of nominations. Yeah, that's what they're celebrating. They're celebrating not that they have good nominations or great novels or writers or content to work with. Like, it's diverse, so it's better. It's just inherently better, right? Like, I don't really agree with that. Like, I don't see the strength in diversity, just assuming it, like just saying diversity is better. Like, I could argue it. Like, I understand the point. Like, oh, if things are diverse, you have multiple viewpoints, you're bringing a lot of the best together, stuff like that could be considered. But the way they do it now and the way this article says it, it's just, they just assume things that aren't white are better. And that's actually what the true meaning of diversity is when you talk to a leftist or when you hear an article like this. It's like, oh, it's less white people. You mean diverse meaning less white people, less men. This is an all-female nomination process here. And yeah, then we go to the names. And then the next section talks about some questionable authors that he references, H.P. Lovecraft, John W. Campbell. I'm aware. I know these guys have, racism and different bad claims in their past, but they're also famous writers. And they're also things that Martin is referencing. Like Lovecraft has influenced a lot of different works, a lot of books and movies and all kinds of stuff. And yeah, I understand. I'm not defending their past quotes. There's some xenophobic and anti-Semitic, this stuff that they're going to claim here later. And I don't mean to just hand wave it too hard, but it's just like a big who cares. Like Martin referenced some old writers. They said something you didn't like a long time ago. Like, just get over it. Like, Martin is not a racist. He's not a sexist. He's just some silly writer who dresses up like a train conductor. And yeah, he probably isn't used to speaking publicly a lot. Like, I know he's done it. I've seen him have great interviews and performances, but he's not an actor. He's not a host. He's not an official like performer. So if he mispronounced a few names, it's just, they were hard names. And that's the thing that really sparked this controversy. And then I think these references to old writers are even a looser connection. Like, I don't think Martin was like defending their offensive stances. Like, if they said something racist, offensive, whatever it may be. But the real thing I want to get to is actually in this tweet, because if you see here, you can actually see the names that he really duffed up. And this comment says, Game of Thrones author George R. Martin recently hosted the 2020 Hugo Awards, accidentally mispronouncing the names of some winners. And these are the names that are actually much harder to get by. We've got Nnedi Okorafor, we've got Chimedum Ogahabu, and Amal El Motar. And that's just the best I could do. I'm sure that was wrong. I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm not trying to be racist. It's not racist to mispronounce something. It's just, like I said before, these are difficult names for English speakers. These are a lot of different combinations of letters and consonants and vowels and different, like, they're just different letters that we don't see together. And to say that mispronouncing a name is racist and also transphobic, like, where does that even come from? Here's Martin. This person says, that was the single most disrespectful Hugo Awards ceremony I've ever seen. The winners and nominees deserve better than George R. Martin bloviating about dead white dudes for hours on end. So this is just about, not liking white people. That's why they think these old white writers are racist. That's why they go after George R. R. Martin. That's why they think, oh, it's great that we have less white nominees. So this guy says abolish the police. That's a good start. If you're a member of a marginalized group who is mortified by what's been said on the stage at tonight's Hugo Awards, I'm so very sorry. Also, what they're saying are the words of those who resent being left behind. You'll write the stories that make everyone forget theirs. Okay, this is clearly some kind of maybe alphabet person. They want to abolish the police. They're obviously a leftist, like some kind of BLM supporter, and they're trying to take over these Hugo Awards. So that about wraps things up. Basically, George R. Martin did nothing wrong. They asked him to host this award show. They got what they asked for. They were upset that Martin liked a lot of white authors, like he represented these other authors from the past, from science fiction and fantasies past. And sure, they said offensive things in the past, but I think the real thing that triggered this was George Martin, mispronouncing some names. So he mispronounced some names, and that's what they want to call racist, even though they were like the hardest names you've ever seen. And then, it's like, okay, he's a famous white guy. We don't like him. Let's go ahead and bash him and call him out as racist. And, the last thing I'll say is maybe some people are bitter. They might be upset that Martin isn't delivering his Game of Thrones book. Like he's promised it would come out this year and it's not. So I don't know if that's part of it, but it's definitely undeserved backlash. That about wraps things up. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you comment your thoughts on everything below. Also hit that like button to get this thing shared. Subscribe if you're new, and check out our second channel, NoBS News. Until next time, have a great day. Hey guys, I just want to take a quick moment to tell you about our new second channel. I've recently updated and revamped the second channel, now called NoBS News. There I'm posting extra videos that I can't fit on this channel. I'm also doing some live streams, I'm playing video games, and doing lots of other cool, fun stuff for you guys. I want to give you guys more content on a separate channel, so you can go and subscribe there, hit that bell for notifications. I'm going to put a link below to NoBS News, or just search NoBS News on YouTube. It's our second channel. It's a lot of fun, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. Thanks for your time. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next video.